Here are all games that Ding Liren won against Magnus Carlsen. There are 20 of them. First they met in 2017. Here he was playing with black pieces and his idea was to put the king on e7 and attack on king side. His king is completely safe. So let's see what happened. He moved first rook and then attacked. Then he pushed pawn so he can free another rook. And it's time for another rook on g8. This square is simply looking very bad. That's why white tried to play g3, but it didn't help, because f5. And now our bishop is in the game too. White had to take, because if he plays something else, we can push f4. Queen c6. It's time to attack. White's idea was to eliminate at least one bishop, so they both took there and bishop e4. Queen c4 and b3, because if he takes, the queen is under attack. So b3 and black took another pawn. Bishop to b7, bishop f6 and rook a to c1. Of course, if he plays b4, then we can play rook to g6. So rook c1 and with a pawn up, black won the game. This game was also played in 2017 and Ding also won with black pieces. This was a blitz game and he didn't see that the h3 pawn will be hanging. Knight to f5, the idea is to come to e3 and attack both pawn and bishop. King f4, so knight e3, and this is where he blundered. He attacked the pawn on h5 but forgot his own pawn. h4, he tried with one check. King e7, he tried something with his knight but it didn't help because black simply took the pawn. He thought maybe with a bishop, but the pawn is pawn and black won the game. So white took and black came with his king and took the d pawn. Let me show you what happened next. Black gave his knight for the pawn and after that white had to give his bishop for the pawn. In the end we have 3 pawns and white only 2. As I said, this is what happened and white resigned the game. Next game was played in 2019. He had elo above 2800 and won against world champion. We already showed you this game in previous video, so here white sacrificed queen. For the whole ending, watch that video. And we finally have one ending where he managed to win. We have opposite color bishops and here's what happened in 50 moves. We came to this position where they changed some pawns and after rook g7, white managed to win the game. They played many more moves and came to this position where Carlsen resigned. You know what black decided to do in this game? To sacrifice. He simply took the knight on c3. Of course, white took the rook, black took the pawn because queen is under attack, so white had to move his queen away, and bishop e4. White played g5 and bishop a8. Look at this diagonal and this sacrifice, but white decided to take on a6. Immediately the position was lost and knight e5, so bishop a7, and after rook e to c1, black decided to sacrifice one more piece, or should I say the queen. Of course white took, and black took again. Look at black's pieces. King to h2 and bishop c6. Queen a3 and let's bring the last piece to the play. And of course sacrifice one more pawn. Bishop to f4 and bishop to c5. As you can see, it looks like we are getting mated. But no, there's one silent move, and that's knight to e7. With this move, we protected f8 square, and white is getting mated. The only option left for white was to resign the game. This game is amazing. In this game, black simply thought, my king is not safe, let's move to the other side. Let's start. And continue. White tried to sacrifice the exchange to attack, but it was already too late. Of course, black took, just to protect f6. And it's time for king c8. Black escaped just in time. And now it's time for counterattack. Could you imagine that black's king is on g8 or h8? That would be horrible. Now it's the white one who needs to worry. And black is sacrificing exchange. White didn't have a choice but to take. And queen e5. Of course black took on g2. Queen g6. And you see those errors. So f2 and rook g1 mate. White tried something h4. First, our king needs to be safe, so there's no mate. Now we have b7 and we don't have to worry. Queen to f4, stopping f2, and we take pawns. Rook to g1, rook to g2, queen to e3, and queen g3. There's mate in next move. And that's also the reason why Magnus resigned. The next game. Which king has more problems? Here we have one game with white, knight to e7. And black can't move. And we have another pathway for our king. Of course, black tried with checks. And we escaped. There's no more checks. So black decided to give up. Let's see what Ding is doing to his opponent in this game. Rook to b3, king to c8, and check. Black tried to escape, but there's rook to d1. bringing all the pieces to attack. And you know, who cares about f3? Here he should have played d5 to sacrifice even more, but it's okay. And here we have the moment where black blundered. Only possible move was of course queen to d5. After this, we have knight to c4, and after king e8, we have knight to e5. Black tried with bishop d6, and white took the pawn. Black had to move his rook, and we have queen b7, king to d7, protecting rook, but then knight e5. If black tries to take, we can take and sacrifice our rook, after what, black doesn't have any move. His queen is also under attack. That's why black played king e7, and we have bishop f4. You know the deal, all pieces are playing, there are sacrifices, and there is mate. Queen to f5, first check, we take bishop, moving back to e5, queen f4 check, we have to move our king, rook to f8, and black resigned because of making 5. Queen to b4 and f3. The mate is c4, he can sacrifice some pieces, but that's it. For example, checkmate. Let's see the next game. This game is from King's Gambit. This pawn on f2 was more important to him than his own knight. Bishop h4, protecting the pawn. Pawn takes on h5 and rook e5. He is not bothered taking the rook because he can take it whenever he wants. He is just playing positionally, improving all of his pieces. Bishop to c3, bishop g5 check, and bishop h1. This is the moment where white resigned because he can take here. If he takes here, we can take. And after this, we have rook e1, which is also checkmate. And here's the time where Magnus Carlsen simply blundered the game. It looks easy, but it's hard to bring Carlsen to the position where he blunders. King to h7, and white took the knight. After this move, we have queen to e3, and it's checkmate. For example, if black takes, we have check, and we have queen to g7. We also have the shortest game between two champions. c4 e6 g3, can you guess the move? Queen to g5, bishop g2, queen to d2, offering his queen, queen to d2, and black resigned. Why did Magnus offer his queen in the fourth move? Actually, Ding lost the previous game on time because he lost his internet connection, so Magnus wanted to be a fair player and resigned the game. But Magnus was also not the best with the time control, and here he lost on time. White has a pawn up, but black has many chances to draw the game. After taking the queen, we have rook endgame, and as you know, they are not very easy. Rook to d8, rook e4, and here Magnus lost on time. The last move black played was knight to c3, which is a blunder. We have one very beautiful move, bishop to h6, queen to f6, and we have bishop to h7. After king moves, rook e8, sacrificing the rook. Or should we say, let's remove another defendant. Only chance was to take on h6, but he took on e8. Knight to g6, and all pieces are attacking. He took the bishop, knight to f8, king to h6, check, king to g5, queen to h4, king to f5, and queen f4, checkmate. A very nice finish. This is very interesting game. He had this useless bishop. It was serving as a pawn, but he still managed to win the game. First he decided to take a center and maybe try this way. Or maybe not. Knight to h7, so the next chance was to attack. But black tried to stop it, rook to b1. Let's make place for another rook. For some reason, Magnus decided to give away 3 pawns, and that's why Ding took them all. First this one, then this one, knight to g5 and c5. This bishop is still useless, but we have some kind of attack. He moved his king, white took, and e5. There is some potential chance that something is going to happen. But later. Let's first attack knight, and Magnus blundered. He didn't see that he can't play this move because of rook e1. Or should I say that he blundered the queen? He took the rook, and here we go. They played few more moves, but it didn't help. And what is our bishop doing? Nothing, but it doesn't matter, he won the game. This position looks pretty equal, right? And then Magnus lost on time. Here moves that were played, and he lost on time. So Ding thought that life is boring and decided to sacrifice again. Rook to d4, pawn takes, queen takes, and Magnus said, you know what? I'm bored as well. Here we go. Now they exchanged some pieces, and we have an endgame. As you can see, Ding has 5 pawns and Magnus has 4 pawns. Of course, they played 40 more moves, exchanged everything, and came to this position. Here's the ending where white promoted another queen. King to f5 and black resigned. Here we have a good-looking queen and bishop, but they are not doing much. Our pieces on the other side are all playing on the queen side. We have some moves, attacking again, and knight to c3. After taking, rook to c1, bishop to b2, and white lost a pawn. For Ding, this is enough to win the game. Here we have another easy king plan played by Ding in the endgame. But wait, let me just show you. This is exactly what happened. And do you know what Ding did in the last game played with Magnus Carlsen? He sacrificed. You see this rook, but he simply played bishop g5. And you know what he did next? He exchanged all pieces. I guess that's how you win against 4th champion. They played some more moves. In the end, this bishop is better than that rook. Do you wanna know how? All of white pieces are great, black king is not safe, and black's pieces are also not the best. Here's the first pawn he took, queen g4, another pawn, rook comes to the 7th row, black tried something but it didn't help because of queen g7. And here's also where the Magnus resigned. There we have 20 games that Ding won against Magnus Carlsen. Subscribe to this channel to see how other players won against Magnus too.